Hey folks, video game event season is coming up very soon, if not already started by the time I'm recording this. This time of year is often when video game companies of the world hold their big events to showcase upcoming games, typically at the event E3, but E3 is cancelled this year. These big companies won't be at E3. Well, obviously. However, most companies will just be holding their own presentations, and many have already announced theirs. Nintendo haven't announced a Nintendo Direct as of yet, but don't worry about that. They don't often officially announce standalone Directs until just a few days beforehand. Being a Zelda tuber, I am obviously interested in the possibility of our next big up-and-coming Zelda game, the sequel to Breath of the Wild. And today, I would like to discuss some reasons as to why there is a pretty good chance it will show up at this very likely to happen Nintendo Direct in the coming weeks of making this video, as well as some thoughts on what Nintendo would actually show off of the game and how much they're going to show off going forward into the eventual release of the game. There's a lot to discuss here. Be sure to go and grab yourself a snack or drink and send them in to get featured right here, and also be sure to drop a like and subscribe if you haven't already. It really helps the channel out, and let's get into this one. First things first, I want to give a quick shout out to fellow creator HMK. He recently uploaded a video talking about a potential Nintendo Direct with Zelda coming up soon. That video inspired me to discuss my thoughts on the topic and is why we're here today. Okay, so with Breath of the Wild 2 recently being pushed back to release in spring of 2023, a more solid release timeframe than the previous more vague 2022, you'd imagine that this timeframe is pretty certain. I mean, the game was announced to be in the works in the summer of 2020, and had likely already been in the works for a little while beforehand. With the game due to release in pretty much less than 1 year, if not 1 year and a little bit, as spring ends in June and it's currently the beginning of June at the time of uploading this video, Nintendo will want to start building up the hype for this game, and the reason I think they'll do it exactly this upcoming month is because history. Looking at Nintendo's history with showing off big mainline Zelda games, they tend to do that at E3, and often only E3. June 14th, 2016, a little less than a year before Breath of the Wild released, we saw its first trailer at E3 that year. It was released in spring of 2017, March 3rd to be exact. We could see the exact same thing happen, well, give or take a little bit of time. That 2016 Direct was on June 14th, and this is roughly the time that Nintendo's big Direct for the year takes place. Other E3 Directs in recent years took place on the 11th, 12th, 15th, and I'm sure you get the point. In around 2 weeks from the release of this video, we will probably be watching a Nintendo Direct, and I'm not afraid to say 100% there will be Breath of the Wild 2 coverage, and if there isn't, I'll crack some eggs on my head and post it on my socials. Outside of the big E3 timeframe presentation, we have seen Zelda in other months of the year, but that's either for spin-offs and remakes, or in the case of mainline games releasing soon, such as from E3 2016 to March 2017, the run-up to releasing Breath of the Wild. But when there's nothing coming within the next 6 months or so, this doesn't happen. Now, say the sequel is the same. It gets its first non-labelled teaser trailer this mid-June, the E3 timeframe, and then releases as planned in spring 2023. Again, as planned. That'd be a near identical process as the first game. Now, this game isn't small, it's gonna be a huge deal, and they'll be aiming to get it on the same level as the first, if not higher. Running a similar promotion cycle to the first game would be really fitting and probably effective. As mentioned, the first trailer dropped on the 14th of June 2016, but then the next trailer released on the 2nd of December, and then the third and final big trailer was released on the 13th of January 2017, with the game itself releasing on the 3rd of March, the beginning of spring 2017. So if we got a trailer at this upcoming E3 time slot, we could expect 2, maybe even 3 trailers before it releases. Now, I'm not suggesting that the sequel will have identical dates for all of this, but to get a rough idea of what we could be in for between now, or more so the Direct I'm predicting, and the release of the game, I think that history could tell the tale. It's also important to note that there was a lot of non-trailer coverage of the first game as well between E3 2016 and the release in March 2017. I'm talking about gameplay, amiibos, and online marketing. I was but a young creator, still finding myself when the first game was coming out, and also after it came out, to be honest. I wasn't a very experienced content creator and didn't get involved as much as I would have liked to, looking back. But it's all a learning experience. The sequel will be the first big mainline Zelda Zelda game that I feel ready for as a creator, and I cannot tell you how excited I am to sit down, play this game non-stop for days and days, and then make a bunch of video for you guys for hopefully years to come. That's my take on what could happen next month when E3 would normally be taking place, where Nintendo would be holding their big direct presentation for the year. Other companies are still doing presentations, and I don't see a reason why Nintendo wouldn't. It's just a matter of time until they announce it, and we get some sweet Breath of the Wild 2 content. Or else, you know, I'm cracking eggs on my head on Twitter. So, there'll be a fun outcome either way. Now, I will admit that there is also the possibility of a remake or port being announced, either instead of Breath of the Wild 2 coverage or alongside. Personally speaking, if a remake or port was to be shown off, such as the Oracle games being remade or Twilight Princess and Wind Waker HD being ported to the Switch, even though it should be Minish Cap being remade, let's just get that straight, I really believe it would be alongside some coverage on the sequel. I don't have any evidence or real reason to prove this, or suggest it, I guess. I just think that's how it would be. Oh, and before wrapping up, you know what's the funny part about all of this? Well, at least for me. If I am correct in saying this, and it's accurate, or at least somewhat accurate, that we will get a director in mid-June and Breath of the Wild 2 will be present, I might be very time pressed to cover whatever is shown off, depending on when the direct is presented. You see, I fly out to the Netherlands with some friends shortly after the time frame that I've predicted, so that'll be fun. There is a possibility that a brand new jam-packed trailer drops, and then 3, 2, maybe even 1 day later, I fly out. So I guess have fun, future me, with handling that situation. It would be a good problem to have, I guess. That's my thoughts on all of this. I'm confident that there will A, be a direct in the middle of June, and B, featuring Breath of the Wild 2. And if not, you'll get to see me crack some eggs on my head. Let me know your thoughts on this down below in the comments, and if you want to see more of my videos from Zelda mysteries to theories to lore to all three mixed together and more, then consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. Oh, and drop a like. Also highly appreciated. Follow me on my socials and join the Discord server via the links below to keep up to date and even chat with me. And a big shout out to all of my channel supporters, as you really help me to make these videos and do what I love. If you'd like to join them and get your name at the end of every single video, then consider supporting via the links below. Again, thanks for watching. I wish you a nice day or night, and until the next time, I've been Hyrule Gamer.